Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Magnetic Reversal News, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Thursday, February 20th, 2020. That's 2/20/2020 at 12:20 a.m. Mountain Time. The models are in, and it's a sin. Areas that haven't received snow will receive snow. Can you imagine that? How that works? Look at that. In the next 2 days, North Carolina will be covered. The mountains buried, and then another system will add insult to injury as we move into March. And a blizzard that's shifting from lower to upper to lower to upper is still there, and we will suffer. What happened to winter? And where's the polar vortex? I don't even know what USA Today is talking about. The polar vortex grows the Arctic ice to 10-year highs this year. And there is no catch, USA Today. You just want to be relevant. Keep calm. It's boom time. An Alaska city had a daily record high and daily record snow on the same day. We reported on the same effect 3 months ago, the grand solar minimum effect, where Alaska warms, moisture increases, and it's boom time. Literally. Did you know it was also the first winter storm warning since March 25th, 2013? Hello. I can't make that up. Western snowpack in great shape, except the Sierras. Now, the only problem here is they're making a lot more out of this than they need to. Can you believe this? Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the snowpack status. This is the status of Western snowpack expressed as a percent of annual average water content. It is over average in all the blue areas. In all the green areas, it is at or about average, 103%, 97%, and only in this little brown region and these yellow regions is it below average. But as we move into the Sierras, hello, obviously Winter Park seeing excellent conditions, but the Sierras are lacking. They are. But not like they have been over the last decade. We're talking 42, 47% of norm, and the winter is not over. You plover, stick with us. Southern snow, several inches of snow possible for parts of the Carolinas. Even Virginia. Governor, say it ain't so, but it is, and it's coming. Many people are very happy and not bumming. Up to 1 inch, 1 to 3 on the coast with the most, 6 or more in the mountains. And it's my prediction that we could see 5 to 7 inches in some of the coastal regions. But we'll just wait and see. Orlando, Florida. While much of Central Florida has been in record temperature territory, you don't have to go far north to find winter. The same system that will bring high temperatures into Central Florida back down into the 50s and 60s Friday will bring snow to parts of the Carolinas, Virginia, and Georgia. Governor, say it ain't so. 1 to 3 inches of snow is possible through much of the central North Carolina. Smaller amounts will be likely through much of southwest Virginia, but it's anyone's guess what the final totals will be. But they're not going to be that deep. So, lake effect continues overnight in parts of central New York, where they make the pork up in New York. Lake effect snow will likely still be quite heavy for the morning commute on Thursday, southeast of Lake Ontario, including around the Syracuse area. So be sure when you head out for the Thursday morning commute to give yourself extra time to your destination, as you may be buried. Lake effect snow warnings. Whoa! Until Thursday, 1 p.m. for Oswego, Onondaga, Oneida, Madison, Wayne, and Cuyahoga. Or is that Cayuga? Who knew-ga? Lake effect returns to central New York Wednesday and Thursday. Alerts include Syracuse. Take a look at this video, man. It's not a schmidio. This is the real deal. This is the current condition of the polar vortex. The first time it's tightened up into a little wheel all the way at the end of summer. What a bummer that now winter is in full effect in mid-February and may extend into mid-March. It's anyone's guess. But this baby looks tight, and this would normally develop in January, but now here it's developing mid-February in a tight spiral. So, the polar vortex is here, and we certainly aren't queer. Higher than normal flood risk expected this spring for some West Michigan rivers, with, yes, ice volcanoes erupting on the banks of the unfrozen Great Lakes. So it was a piss-poor performance as far as freezing is concerned, but it's going to get chilly, and these lakes might start to ice up again over the coming days. Kalamazoo, Michigan. While winter in West Michigan calls for snow and cold temperatures, this winter has been anything but normal. Abby normal, I would say. West Michigan has seen above average rainfall and below average snowfall, but more snow is still coming. I know people are bumming, but we're in a new paradigm where the pattern is shifting and spreading, and that's what causes all the crop chaos. A lot of you think that everyone's going to be buried in snow and freeze as we enter a grand solar minimum. That's not how it works. The sun breaks down the normalcy of the climate, and it becomes abnormal, unpredictable, and very dangerous to the survival of 8 billion people. Forecasters with the National Weather Service said the Muskegon, Grand, and Chippewa River basins are most at risk for flooding, and many people are bumming as trees are budding in some regions, which will be frozen and lost. And we'll report on it sometime in April. Weather alert, winter weather advisory issued for 10 North Georgia counties. Snow expected overnight. That's your plight. Probably Blairsville, nowhere else. The rest will be saturated and flash flooding, etc. Popular inland ocean is approaching record water level heights in Georgia. Yeah, and this guy's concerned. I wonder what he has to say. I didn't even parse this up. And he's
his own inland ocean, as Lake Lanier is known, is nearing a record high level. The massive reservoir is less than a foot below the record high level set back in the 1960s, one of the impacts of the wet start to 2020 in the southeast. Residents are being asked to cut power to docks that are being submerged in some spots and to tie them down. The Army Corps of Engineers keeping a close eye on water releases from Buford Dam and the impacts too much water could have downstream along the Chattahoochee River as it flows into Atlanta and south through central Georgia into Florida. Longtime residents say they can't believe how high the lake is.
But this year it's been the highest I've seen. And what I use as a gauge is the handrails at the West Park. And this time they're over the rail. And last year they were about midway up, 3/4, but this year they're submerged.
Several campgrounds and parks around the lake are closed because of the high water. Boaters are also asked to be on high alert for submerged obstacles. Any more heavy rain could spike the water levels here in Lake Lanier even higher. Usually it takes about 1 to 2 days for all the water to travel through the tributaries and empty out here into the lake. On the west shore of Lake Lanier for AccuWeather, I'm Jonathan Petramala.
Mountains brace for the first snow event in more than a year. We're talking Asheville, North Carolina. It has been a quiet start to the season in the city of Asheville salt yard, but they're about to get busy as several inches of snow are going to fall in the mountains. And we're not going to lose that info. Finally, some cold weather is possible in the Midwest and the East. A northward bulge of the jet stream, which is not showing up on the polar vortex, will cool off the air a little bit. A pattern change might bring more persistent cold air to the Midwest and the East, and it will dip south for sure, especially tonight. Lake effect snow warning in effect for central New York, where 5 to 10 inches could fall in some regions. 6 to 10, in fact, could fall in narrow bands, making travel hazardous just as commuters are heading to work Thursday morning. That's what we're learning. It's going to snow North Carolina. Southern Virginia brace for the brunt of the winter storm. Hello. This guy looks very concerned. Are you concerned? We were. We just filmed 11 minutes without audio. Winter weather advisories are issued for northern Georgia and parts of North Carolina early Wednesday afternoon. Just enough cold air will sink southward from the Midwest to the Northeast to cause some trouble as winter storm arrives across the region. And the totals are very low in this region, so any snow is going to be very significant. And we can see here small strips through the mountains. Hello, Wednesday through Thursday. And here's your snowfall potential for Thursday and the arrival time. 9 a.m., you're going to see snow in the mountains. By noon, it's going to be moving east. By midday, Raleigh should be seeing the first flakes. And by the end of the commute, it'll be on the coast. And then overnight, it's going to be the big winner. We're up to, let's see the totals here. So they're giving it a mix in most of the east, but that's not how it will unravel. We'll get to the models in a minute. System shifts from the deep south to the southeast. The system producing rain locally heavy in the deep south will spread potentially for flooding and flash flooding into the southeast. Wintry conditions on the north side of the storm will produce accumulating snow from the Appalachians to the southern mid-Atlantic. Area of snow will continue to portions of the high plains here, but we're going to get snow all the way on the coast. Winter storm watches and warnings issued everywhere, even in Georgia. So if you're wondering how to figure out where your watches and warnings in your region are, just click on your county. I just did it. Here I am, National Weather Service, Peachtree, Georgia, and you can see that winter storm moving east like a beast. Even some snow in central Florida being shown there. But you can see that there are winter weather advisories for most of the counties surrounding Blairsville and just east of Spartansburg, and flash flood warnings and watches everywhere in the south. So take heed, click on your county. Let's check the models. That storm's going to quickly move from Colorado into Kansas, dumping plenty of snow, and that's going to just pump right through there. Friday, boom. Thursday, Friday, it's when the heavy snow on the coast is going to happen. Second system, it's going to move up here, dump a light amount here in Michigan. Look at these strips, and then look at the Northeast getting buried as we end February. Potential blizzard moving through the upper Midwest is going to add insult to injury to the current flooding potential, and more snowpack, up to 3 feet in some areas. So we're going to watch this model closely because it's been shifting. This storm has been here, across here, down here, over there, and now it's going straight up here. It's anyone's guess how the spring will unfold, but it will be snowy. Red State Utah embraces plan to tackle climate crisis in surprising shift. The only problem is there is no shift. If you read the article, the reason they're changing tactics is to stop pollution. They don't believe that carbon dioxide changes the climate. It's a record ski season in Utah, all-time records. And so Al Gore is definitely a fraud. But Salt Lake City is one of the most polluted cities in the country. It had some of the most horrible air quality readings earlier in the year that we shared on this channel. And the powers that be that are Republican, and even they don't even believe in climate change. They don't care. They want clean air. So they're just buying into the narrative, publishing it as a headline, and going with the flow. Just like the skiers are, skiing in the powder. Seismic update, no quakes of note. 5.2 in Guam, wherever that is. 4.5 in Bend in Oregon. I'm sure Mary Greeley chirped something out with the crickets. And 4.4 in Cayman Islands. It just will not stop in the Caribbean. Hello. But what I want you to really look at is the fact that the Earth is getting larger. We have mid-ocean ridge activity, clearly from the swelling of the planet, all up and down in the North Atlantic, South Atlantic, Southern Hemisphere, Northern Hemisphere. Iceland is swelling and growing. We're watching it. And a large volcano in Ecuador is now showing early warning signs of potential collapse, according to new research coming out in a paper just 4 days ago. Rapid localized flank inflation and implications for potential slope instability at Tungurahua volcano in Ecuador. November 2015, rapid west flank inflation with eruptive activity and VT seismicity occurred and then the west flank rebuilt since prehistoric 3 kiloyear collapse. But this is not a significant volcano. It's just a salacious article written on a paper. It's a tiny little bug. Look at that. Not much to see, but let's see it. Let's be about it. Hello! Delicious. It almost looks like Kilauea. This is more of a basaltic shield type volcano. Nah. It's just a meh. I mean, it's pretty to look at, and there's a body apparently. Jesus. Probably demonetized now. I'll leave links to all this below. Worldwide volcano news update. No volcanoes of note. Boom! Popo going to 22,000. Hello. Yeah. Explosive activity continues. That just happened. So maybe we'll get some good video. Fuego, Ibu, Tucono, Reventador, Sangay, Sakurajima, Nevados, Techilan, Aso, Ibu, and more. Fuego. White Island has a report. Let me show you that. Let me show you the White Island report that just came out 24 hours ago, which is buried in all these other reports because volcanoes, they's be exploding. GeoNet did a gas flight that confirms the steady decline in CO2 and SO2 flux since the major eruption at White Island, albeit slightly elevated levels. The result from the investigatory flight is consistent with recent gas measurements and indicates the continued presence of shallow magma beneath the primary vent. So anyone that's traveling there, well, they're a dodo bird. Now let's check out some auroras blasting out yesterday. Wow, that was a little much. Northern Lights put up a spectacular show in the sky over Finland. Who knew? Ah, there it is. There's the spike. That'll get you. Now, this is a solar minimum, end of solar cycle 24, beginning of solar cycle 25, super solar minimum coronal hole. It was on the northern portion of the sun, and we had some minor perturbations, actually getting into geomagnetic instability for 9 hours and geomagnetic storm for just 3. KP5, we're still alive. But the northern lights are gorgeous. More to come. As the sun awakens, the Arctic is getting greener. That's bad news for all of us. According to Wired, it's all your fault. CO2, the world's burning up. But wait, over at NASA, also today, global green up slows warming. What? Scientists previously established that the world is greener than it was in the 1980s because of CO2, which is, by the way, plant food. And the updated map shows that the trend has continued. It's getting worse. The whole planet is greening. Oh my God, we're all going to live in a forest. Researchers say reduced global warming is among the consequences of the greening. It's a tragedy, folks. NASA just said that, let me highlight that for you. Reduced global warming is the consequence of Earth greening. What else is the consequence of Earth greening? More food, more plants, more forests, more Shinrin-yoku, more enlightened people, more people opting out of society and becoming woke, healed, the sick becoming well. And the mainstream is reporting on this. I don't hear CNN talking about this. Have you heard this on the mainstream news? That the global green up is slowing global warming? The fact the Earth has been greening for 40 years as CO2 increases is cooling the planet, as reported by NASA? I doubt it. Red State, Utah embraces a plan to tackle climate crisis. Ha! We talked about that, didn't we? Oil and gas production is contributing even more to global warming than was thought, greening the Earth and cooling the planet. Good job, oil and gas industry. And if you're worried about chemtrails, I pulled up the bill. HR 4586 in the 115th Congress passed the Geoengineering Act. Many people purport it's called the Geoengineering Act of 2017, but it's not. It's the only bill of its kind, and it's called the Geoengineering Research Evaluation Act of 2017. And if you even read the bill, it has nothing to do with geoengineering. Nothing. It has to do with studying the plausibility of geoengineering, not actual geoengineering. Is it plausible to affect the albedo? Can we do it? What if we do it? What are the consequences? That's what the bill was designed for. It's not to implement geoengineering legally. But if you ask Dane Wigington, he'll lie to you right to your face because he just wants money and views. He doesn't care about facts or science. What he does care about is fear and, salacious information to drive his insane group of fearmonger people. That's not what we're here for. We're here for the facts. And if you read the bill, there's nothing in it at all about geoengineering. We did hear from Harvard that they did a sample right north of here of the ranch where they puffed some baking soda out. And we know that the government has done experiments on high elevation stratospheric aerosols, which are invisible from the ground. Planes flying at 60,000 feet are invisible. And that the majority of the population is simply looking at commercial airlines leaving contrails and getting their panties in a bunch because of schmucks like Dane Wigington. Here's the paper that explains what you're seeing. Peer-reviewed in Nature, 2017. Increased ionization supports growth of aerosols into cloud condensation nuclei. Now, as early as the early 70s, the government explained how contrails were spreading and creating this haze. But this paper proves the process. And not only that, it suggests that the grand solar minimum we're entering with the increased cosmic rays. We've seen an increase of over 15% over the last decade, maybe 20% in some regions. The higher latitude, the worse it is. And irregardless, these persistent contrails are going to continue to increase and make dumb people dumber and tinfoil more expensive. Period. Read the paper if you care about science. Colorado sold a record $1.75 billion worth of cannabis last year. That's like ending the deficit soon. Colorado cannabis shops notched sales at nearly $1.75 billion during 2019. The porn industry is shaking in their pants. We don't need you anymore. It's free on the internet. The major study that fueled the national vape panic has been retracted. Now, my partner Leah has been furious about the state of affairs on vaping and the misinformation being delved to the public through the mainstream media. These multinational corporations have pumped more BS into your face and mouth and ears than any group of idiots that could ever be potentially liable. But they retracted the paper. And yet, today I watched a 30-minute commercial before a video on suspicious observers about how vaping is targeted to children and causes pulmonary edema and heart attack and stroke, all coming from the fraud paper that has been redacted or retracted. Yet they'll still show that chart and try to scare the fuck out of you. The plasma universe overthrows the mental cage of Newton and revives Planck's musical space-time. If you have any idea what I just said, read this blog. Near the end of 2019, signals arrived from Earth from Voyager 2 suggesting that the electric universe is correct and that we are connected to Orion through a Birkeland current. That's all I'll say there. It's way beyond this podcast. Now, Carlton Brown reached out to us on Twitter, and I hate Twitter. I don't even look at it. Well, I do, like 3 times a week for a second. Twitter is for people younger than me that are way dumber than me. So I don't even deal with that. Regardless, it's what our president uses for democracy. So I'm shying away from that. But Carlton Brown is an author, and some of the things that he has written are totally demonetizable. So I want to get him on the show. Most of his books are on mushrooms and meditation at the same time. That is amazing, and I want to get there. But what he offered all of our viewers and everyone in the world is a free gift. The book Revolution, Ice Age Reentry by Carlton Brown is now free. Free. You know how much that is? Nothing. Buy it now with 1 click for nothing. And it gets 4.5 stars. I'm telling you. Mitigating the risks of a 21st century climate switch to a global cooling phase before running out of oil and gas. I got to talk to him. We're never going to run out of oil and gas, but not everyone can study the things that I do, which is why we're going to get Carlton Brown on the program and have a discussion on why he offered everyone his book for free. So just click now. And if you don't have Kindle, get the app. Don't be lazy. Be proactive. Get this book. I haven't even read it, but I just saw the Twitter earlier, so I wanted to share it in case that Carlton was watching, and then he'll come on the show. See how that works? Revolution, Ice Age Reentry. Free on Kindle. Right now. Do it now. Do that. Now, I want to thank each and every one of you, all of our new Patreons. We've had over 50 Patreons in the last week. It's amazing. And all we need is 200 more, and we may just shut Patreon off. Just 200 more. Probably about another year. And then we can totally cut off of the umbilical cord of YouTube nonsense and just give the facts to the people that want it. But the people want the facts. And I want to share you some of our stats here. We have over 15 million views in the last 2.5 years. And now we are, as of the last 28 days, being viewed in 61 countries. 500 million views, 84,209 hours of view time. That's your whole life in a month that they're watching the channel. They want to know. I mean, Netherlands, Denmark, Thailand, Brazil, Poland, Italy, Belgium, Malaysia, Israel, Portugal, Japan, the UAE, Romania, Singapore, Trinidad, Tobago, 132 views this month. That's a portion of the population down there. Puerto Rico, Australia, Slovenia, Costa Rica, Hungary, Jamaica, Ukraine, Indonesia, on and on. We want to thank all of our international supporters, all our viewers, all our Patreons. You all make this possible. Sharing these videos, affecting the algorithm with a thumbs up, leaving a nice comment. Maybe there's a survey before the video because they want to shut us down. They're like, does this YouTuber actually give you information that's valuable? I'm not going to give you the answers. Your answers are the one that determine our future. So I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting us and spreading the love. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Do it now. Buy seeds. Start growing. We're going to be doing more preparedness videos on how to survive and thrive, grow your own food, and just basically be awesome. There it is. It's what we're about. We're about building community and sharing knowledge. And we love each and every one of you. Without you, there's no us.